Good afternoon. My name is Liz Ryan, and I am the Administrator of the Office of Juvenile Justice and Delinquency Prevention. On behalf of the Department of Justice, I want to welcome you to the 40th observance of National Missing Children's Day. We will begin our ceremony with a presentation of the colors by the Color Guard from Garfield High School's Marine Corps Junior Reserve Officer Training Corps. The national anthem will follow the presentation of the colors. Please rise and remain standing until the colors are retired. Please present the colors.
Forward, march. Left side, march. Color, hold. Freeze and colors. Oh, say, can you see by the dawn's early light what so proudly we hailed at the twilight's last gleaming, whose broad stripes and bright stars through the perilous fight o'er the ramparts we watched were so gallantly streaming, and the rocket's red glare, the bombs bursting in air, gave proof through the night that our flag was still there. Oh, say, does that star-spangled banner yet wave o'er the land of the free and the home of the brave? Right side, march. Forward, march.
I'd like to thank the Garfield High School Marine Corps Junior ROTC for the presentation of the colors, and to Detective Brandon Poor for singing the national anthem. Will the audience please be seated? It is now my distinct pleasure to introduce our next speaker, the Attorney General of the United States, Merrick Garland. Attorney General Garland is a champion for children, and we could not have a better advocate or ally leading the Department of Justice. Please join me in welcoming Attorney General Garland.
Thank you, Liz. Before we begin today's program, I want to acknowledge the weight of this day for the community of Uvalde, Texas. I know that every day since May 24th, 2022 has been a difficult one in Uvalde, but today is particularly painful. Today marks 1 year since 19 children and 2 of their teachers were killed in a mass shooting at an elementary school. Today marks 1 year that the families of those victims have spent mourning an unimaginable loss. And today marks 1 year since that act of unspeakable violence devastated the Uvalde community and shook our country. In the wake of that horrific mass shooting, the Justice Department launched a critical incident review of the law enforcement response that day. Since then, the department's COPS office has been working closely with subject matter experts to conduct the review. Last month, Associate Attorney General Vanita Gupta traveled to Uvalde to meet with families and community members, and to reiterate the department's continued commitment to a thorough and substantive review. We know that nothing we can do can undo the pain inflicted on the loved ones of the victims, the survivors, and the entire community of Uvalde. But the Justice Department is doing everything in its power to assess what happened that day and to provide the answers the Uvalde community deserves. It is an honor to join with you today as we commemorate the 40th annual National Missing Children's Day. Last year, the FBI received more than 359,000 reports of missing children. Thankfully, many returned home within a short time, but sadly, many others did not. Children and teens under the age of 18 account for almost 1/3 of the FBI's active missing persons reports. Whether a child has been abducted or has just wandered away, the terror felt by a parent when their child has disappeared is overwhelming. I have great respect for the brave, resourceful, and dedicated professionals like those in this room who work every day to protect children from harm, reunite missing children with their families, and provide support for the community in the aftermath of a traumatic event. There is no cause more worthy of honor. The Department of Justice is honored to stand with you. At the Justice Department, we also know that this work is too important for any one of us to take on alone. And we know that our partnerships among law enforcement agencies and with advocates are some of the most effective tools we have to keep our communities and our children safe. That is why in March, the United States Marshal Service launched a first-of-its-kind National Missing Children operation. Together with the National Center for Missing and Exploited Children, U.S. Marshals identified and focused their efforts on 15 geographical areas that showed a high cluster of missing children. Operation We Will Find You, which ended on May 15th, resulted in the location of 225 children. That includes the recovery of 169 missing children and the safe location of an additional 56 children. This is an important achievement, but we know how much more work remains to be done. Last year, our Office of Juvenile Justice and Delinquency Prevention awarded more than $50 million to support nationwide efforts to locate missing children, prevent child abduction, and provide technical training and assistance. We will continue that work in the year ahead. As many of you know, National Missing Children's Day was established 40 years ago in memory of a 6-year-old boy named Eitan Pates. He vanished while walking to his bus stop in New York City in 1979. His memory is a tragic reminder of why we do this work and of what is at stake. I know this work is challenging. These cases, especially those involving children who have been harmed or exploited, are among our most difficult. And I recognize the emotional toll these cases can take on investigators and on their colleagues. To everyone here who has taken on the job of protecting our children, our future, I say thank you. The extraordinary individuals we are recognizing in today's ceremony represent the very best of that work. It is my privilege to be here to honor these heroes who have found missing or kidnapped children and reunited them with their families, who have protected children from exploitation and abuse, who have brought their predators to justice. I would also like to acknowledge the winner of the poster contest, 5th grader Ayub Al-Sadi. Ayub, your work is an inspiration for all of us. Can you wave? I know you're back there. To all of today's honorees, you have worked to create a safer and a better world for our children. From the bottom of my heart, thank you. And now it's my particular honor to present this year's Attorney General's Special Commendation. This award recognizes Internet Crimes Against Children task forces or affiliate agencies for making significant investigative or program contributions. This year's award goes to Lieutenant Cyrus Zafrani, Task Force Commander. Congratulations. Okay. Sergeant Kelly Renfro, Deputy Task Force Commander. Texas Ranger, Bruce Sherman. Detectives Jeffrey Rich, Tony Godwin, and Chris Meehan.
There's one more.
Sorry. Community Outreach Officer, Anthony Newsom. They are all from the North Texas Internet Crimes Against Children Task Force. Say some nice things about you, okay? This task force encompasses 112 counties, spans more than 96,000 square miles, and has more than 250 active affiliate agencies. Between November 1, 2021 and October 31, 2022, the task force processed more than 22,000 tips from the National Center for Missing and Exploited Children's cyber tip line. This work resulted in more than 500 arrests and the rescues of more than 50 children. In addition to their successful investigative works, our honorees have also dedicated themselves to training others on investigative techniques related to Internet crimes against children cases. To our awardees from the North Texas Internet Crimes Against Children Task Force, you have my unending gratitude. Our communities are safer because of you, and our children are safer because of you. Thank you. And thanks to all of you.
Thank you. And thank you, Mr. Attorney General. The Attorney General is unable to stay for the entire ceremony, but we are so honored that he took the time to be here, and we are grateful for the department's support of this very important work. Tomorrow marks the 40th anniversary of National Missing Children's Day. Since that first observance, we have made tremendous strides in creating safer environments for our children. As we celebrate the heroic acts of law enforcement and the work of our partners to protect children in our communities and online, I'm honored to be joined on stage by Associate Attorney General Vanita Gupta, Assistant Attorney General Amy Solomon, Michelle DeLon, the President and CEO of the National Center for Missing and Exploited Children, and author and advocate Paul Jack Franzak. I'd like to thank them all, and I'd like to thank all of you, and especially to members of Congress and their staff, and our awardees and poster contest winners for being here today. It is now my distinct honor to introduce Associate Attorney General Vanita Gupta. I have known Associate Attorney General Gupta for many, many years, and we both have a shared passion for keeping our communities safe, and I'm so pleased that she's able to join us today. So please join me in welcoming Associate Attorney General Gupta.
Good afternoon. Thank you, Liz, for the introduction and for your leadership. It is a true privilege to be here today, joining the Attorney General and my colleagues here on the stage for their immense work, but my colleagues also across the Justice Department to commemorate National Missing Children's Day and pay tribute to the recipients of this year's awards. Before I continue, I want to acknowledge, as the Attorney General did, that today marks 1 year since the horrific mass shooting at Robb Elementary School in Uvalde, Texas. I visited Uvalde last month with members of our critical incident review team to spend time with the families and to update them on our work. And there is simply not a day that goes by where I do not think of the families, of the children, and of the entire community in Uvalde. The Justice Department is committed to putting together a comprehensive, authoritative accounting of what happened that day and how we might best avoid the horrors that took place a year ago. Thank you all for being here today, and I want to thank Liz and her team at the Office of Juvenile Justice and Delinquency Prevention, who organize this commemoration every year. It is an honor for us to host this ceremony in person in the Great Hall of the Justice Department. And I want to welcome my fellow speakers, Michelle DeLon and Paul Jack Franzak. Like many of you in this room, I am a parent, and it is simply difficult, impossible even to imagine all of the emotions, panic, fear, heartbreak when a child goes missing. The Justice Department commemorates National Missing Children's Day not only to remember the solemn impact that missing children have on parents and caregivers, families and communities, but also to honor the individuals, organizations, and agencies that have made extraordinary efforts to find and rescue missing and exploited children. I want to personally congratulate our award recipients. As you just heard from the Attorney General, a team of law enforcement professionals in North Texas whose investigation of child sexual abuse exploitation, and enticement resulted in the rescue of more than 50 children. A detective from California who rescued a 17-year-old kidnapped teen from an abductor intent on trafficking her. An Illinois detective whose investigation into the disappearance of a 14-year-old girl saved her from sexual assault. And a talented young artist in New York, from New York, who has brilliantly captured the spirit of National Missing Children's Day. These individuals exemplify the commitment, resolve, and creativity that we celebrate this day each year. The Department of Justice is proud to stand with these heroes, and we are grateful for the thousands of law enforcement officers and missing children advocates throughout the nation who work so hard to protect our children every day. Today's honorees deserve not only our highest respect and esteem, but also our support. And that is exactly what the Justice Department is committed to providing. Under the leadership of our U.S. Attorney's offices in Child Exploitation and Obscenity Section, we are working hand in hand with local, state, and federal agencies through our Project Safe Childhood initiative. And it's to bring those who prey upon our children to justice. With support from OJJDP, our nation's 61 Internet Crimes Against Children task forces, like the task force recognized by the Attorney General this afternoon, serve really as the tip of the spear at the state and local level. ICACs have been finding and arresting online predators and rescuing child victims since 1998. We are committed to giving them the resources that they need to continue their vital law enforcement mission. OJJDP also provides funding to prevent child abduction and exploitation in the first place and supports training and technical assistance nationwide, including response strategies for at-risk, missing, and high-risk endangered children. We are grateful for the work and partnership from our state and local counterparts and look forward to continuing to support these efforts. In closing, I also want to express appreciation to Michelle and our partners at the National Center for Missing and Exploited Children. The National Center's work has made an incredible difference for so many families, law enforcement agencies, schools, and communities. We are grateful to you for standing with us in this fight and look forward to our continued long-standing partnership. I will now turn it over back to Administrator Ryan. Thank you all.
Thank you so much, Associate Attorney General Gupta. Today's event is both a solemn commemoration and a meaningful demonstration of support. It's a time to honor the heroes who work tirelessly to protect and bring missing children home. We also recognize our dedicated partners who investigate these crimes and work to keep our children safe online and in their communities. OJJDP supports the National Center for Missing and Exploited Children, the Internet Crimes Against Children, ICAC Task Force Network, and the nationwide Amber Alert Training and Technical Assistance Program. You've heard about some of the work done by the National Center for Missing and Exploited Children, and you'll hear a little bit more about their amazing work shortly. OJJDP created the ICAC program in 1998 to help end cyber threats against children. It has since grown to a national network of 61 coordinated task forces representing more than 5,200 law enforcement and prosecutorial agencies engaged in investigating and criminally prosecuting online child victimization. In fiscal year 2022 alone, ICAC task force programs conducted more than 167,000 investigations and over 76,770 forensic exams. These efforts resulted in the arrests of more than 10,200 individuals. Additionally, the ICAC program trained nearly 34,000 law enforcement personnel, more than 2,500 prosecutors, and more than 6,600 other professionals working in the ICAC field. OJJDP continues to develop and support many other resources for law enforcement and citizens to ensure the safety of our nation's children. In that vein, our office is pleased to announce the release today of a new publication, The new publication, When Your Child is Missing, A Family Survival Guide, will be available on our website. This guide, now in its 5th edition, offers clear, actionable information on how parents of missing children can work with law enforcement, the media, volunteers, and how to manage donations, rewards, and simply survive to fight another day in search for their child. We're pleased to have with us today the authors of the new Family Survival Guide. These family members have worked tirelessly over the last 18 months to update the guide, ensuring that it is an effective resource for other families going through the nightmare of trying to find a missing child. At this time, I'd like to ask the authors to please stand and be recognized. I want to thank you all for your tremendous efforts and unwavering commitment to this work. Thank you. Last month, the National Amber Alert and Amber Alert in Indian Country Symposium was held in Tucson, Arizona, and was the first in-person symposium since 2019. The event engaged participants across a number of important topics delivered by more than 30 presentations and facilitators. Our office continues to make strides towards implementing Amber Alert programs in Indian Country. We are addressing technology gaps in tribal communities' response to missing and endangered children by providing an array of tools to tribal law enforcement. Despite the progress we've made, we are here today remembering those sons and daughters, brothers and sisters who have not come home and for whom the search will never end. Anyone at any time can make the difference in the safe recovery of a missing and exploited child. And I'm now pleased to transition to the awards presentation. We will recognize law enforcement officers who, through determination, quick thinking, and decisive and collaborative actions, made the difference in the lives of children in peril. Okay, all right. The Missing Law Enforcement Award recognizes the extraordinary efforts of a law enforcement officer who has made a significant investigative or program contribution to the safety of children. This year's award goes to Detective Agnes Watson from the Rialto Police Department in California. On April 30th, 2022, a woman contacted the Rialto Police Department to report that her 17-year-old daughter went missing. Detective Agnes Watson interviewed the mother and searched the missing girl's bedroom, where she found the girl's money, phone charger, clothes, toothbrush, and hairbrush, possible signs that the girl hadn't intended to leave home. Detective Watson contacted one of the girl's friends, who reported that the missing girl had recently befriended an adult male on social media. The missing girl had told her friend that she was dating this man and that he lived in New York. Detective Watson obtained access to the missing girl's social media account, where she found communications with the subject later identified as 23-year-old Elijah Clark of New York. Detective Watson contacted Clark by phone, but after she introduced herself as a police detective, Clark hung up and turned off the phone. With concerns rising, Detective Watson wrote a phone ping warrant, and the results showed that Clark's phone was in California near Los Angeles International Airport. By the next morning, the ping location changed to Clark's address in New York. Detective Watson contacted the New York Police Department, whose 30th precinct made several attempts to find the missing girl. On May 6, Detective Watson received a text from the missing girl through Clark's phone, stating that she was being held against her will. NYPD was advised of the situation and executed a forced entry into Clark's home. The girl was located, and Clark, who attacked the entry team and stabbed an officer, was arrested. Clark stated in an interview that he had intended to take the girl to Puerto Rico the following morning to sell her. Clark was charged in New York with kidnapping, false imprisonment, injury to a minor, strangulation, assault on a police officer, and multiple weapons charges. The Rialto Police Department recommended to the San Bernardino County District Attorney's Office that several criminal counts be added, including kidnapping, contact with a minor with intent for lewd acts, and meeting with a minor for lewd purposes. Excellent work, Detective Watson. Will you please join us on stage? Wow. Our next award is the Missing Children's Child Protection Award, which recognizes the extraordinary efforts of a law enforcement officer who has made a significant investigative or program contribution to protecting children from abuse or victimization. This award goes to Detective Mike Meyerson from the Palatine Police Department in Illinois. On January 7th, 2022, Detective Meyerson was contacted by the Cook County Internet Crimes Against Children Task Force regarding a Priority 1 cyber tip from the National Center for Missing and Exploited Children's cyber tip line. The caller was the mother of a 14-year-old girl in Michigan. The girl had been communicating with a 19-year-old male in California named Hunter Dodson. The girl's mother said that Dodson indicated to her that he was traveling from California to Michigan to pick up the girl to begin a sexual relationship with her and marry her. The mother reported that Dodson was staying at a Motel 6 in Palatine, Illinois, on his way to Michigan. Detective Meyerson immediately began gathering intelligence and determined that Dodson was not at the Motel 6. Detective Meyerson contacted the Transportation Security Administration and found that Dodson had booked a flight out of Chicago O'Hare International Airport for that afternoon. Detective Meyerson met Chicago police at the airport where they apprehended Dodson as he attempted to board the plane. Dodson confessed that he was traveling to meet the girl with the intention of taking her away from her home and having a sexual relationship with her. Detective Meyerson worked through the weekend preparing preservation orders and search warrants for Discord and Instagram social media apps and Dodson's cell phone. Dodson was then charged with the felony of traveling to meet a minor. Outstanding work, Detective Meyerson. Please join us on stage. Finally, it's my pleasure to recognize this year's winner of the Missing Children's Day poster contest. Every year, OJJDP hosts a national poster competition among fifth grade students to raise awareness about missing children and to engage communities in discussions about promoting child safety. This is an important competition because the winning entry is the image that will grace the ribbons and posters for next year's Missing Children's Day. More than 1,700 students from 29 states participated in this year's contest. Posters were designed to illustrate the theme, Bringing Our Missing Children Home. We had some truly excellent entries this year, and selecting a winner was really hard work. The winner of this year's poster contest is Ayub Al-Saidi from Brooklyn, New York. We are so pleased that Ayub and members of his family could be with us today. Ayub, a fifth grader at PS 251 in Brooklyn, New York, drew an image of two hands with the word hope written across the picture. Red, blue, and yellow figures of law enforcement personnel are on the left, and pencil drawings of families and friends searching for a missing child are on the right. Hope is the theme that I chose for my picture, Ayub wrote, as he describes the photo of law enforcement and families coming together to search for the missing child. On the bottom of the poster, it represents the children who hope, which motivates them to get back to their families. It's amazing how Ayub was able to capture so much depth and emotion through his artistic ability. He conveyed the spirit of optimism that we need to see through this difficult work. Today, Ayub, we would like to present you with a plaque and your framed artwork to take home. Will you join me in recognizing this year's poster contest winner, Ayub El-Saidi? Ayub, please join me on stage. Okay. Our next speaker is a longtime friend and partner of OJJDP. Michelle DeLon is the President and Chief Executive Officer of the National Center for Missing and Exploited Children. Michelle began her career at NCMEC 2 decades ago and has held numerous positions within the organization, most recently serving 8 years as its Chief Operating Officer. During her tenure at NCMEC, she witnessed firsthand the evolving threats that face our children and has expanded NCMEC's programmatic response to both missing and exploited children. Please join me in welcoming Michelle DeLon.
Good afternoon, everyone. It's really an honor to be here today representing the National Center for Missing and Exploited Children. First, I'd like to recognize the strong leadership that's being displayed at the Department of Justice, starting with the Attorney General Merrick Garland, Associate Attorney General Vanita Gupta, OJP Assistant Attorney General Amy Solomon, OJJDP Administrator Liz Ryan. Thank you for all that you've done. You've created amazing partnerships as evidenced in this room, and we look forward to continuing to work closely. As we commemorate Missing Children's Day, we hold close in our hearts the families and the loved ones of the missing children, those who have to go to sleep every night not knowing where their child is. Today is also a day for all of us to recommit to our mission to ensure that all children have a safe childhood. Today, I'd like to take a few minutes to share with you the exciting progress that's being made in the search for missing children by harnessing the power of social media and genetic genealogy. Last year, NCMEC assisted law enforcement, families, and child welfare agencies with more than 27,000 new missing child cases. All of you can know that this work can be difficult, heartbreaking, but the knowledge that children do come home continues to inspire everyone in this room. Our entire NCMEC family was inspired when we received word that Melissa Highsmith, who had been abducted as an infant in Fort Worth, Texas, had been located. She had been missing for 51 years. Last September, we received an anonymous tip regarding a possible sighting of Melissa in Charleston, South Carolina. The tipster had been online and saw an age-progressed photo that NCMEC had created of what Melissa might look like when she was 50 years old. While the tip didn't actually pan out, it did give us the fresh opportunity to breathe new life into Melissa's search. We reshared the story of her abduction on social media, which garnered the attention of national news outlets. Melissa's family was also incredibly excited by the renewed attention given to their case. In fact, that attention inspired her relatives to resubmit DNA samples to a genealogy company that they had not yet used. Ultimately, it was DNA that resolved the case, and after 51 years of searching, Melissa and her family were finally reunited. And although they lost many years, 5 decades together, they're now getting to know one another, and we look forward to supporting them every step of the way. And Melissa is just one long-term missing child recently resolved because of the intersection between social media and DNA testing. More than 20 years ago, a little boy was found deceased near a cemetery in the Atlanta suburbs. No one knew his name, and he didn't match the description of any missing children. Then finally, last July, he got his name back, William Deshaun Hamilton. William's mother, who never reported him missing, was charged with his murder. William's babysitter from more than 20 years ago had always wondered what happened to that beautiful, artistic 6-year-old little boy whose mother suddenly stopped bringing him to her home. While online, she saw an updated facial reconstruction created by NCMEC, and she recognized that the little boy in the image was William. And that tenacious woman called us with the answer that had been eluding everybody for decades. We live in a really noisy world, so we must continue to find new creative ways to keep the focus and attention of the public on missing children and their stories. We strategically geo-target missing child photos and images to businesses and homes in a very hyper-localized way. For instance, we're very proud of a partnership that we have with Gas Station TV. We've all watched the televisions as we're pumping our gas. This company has paired up with NCMEC to help us feature missing child photos in 48 states. And we highlight the children in the geographic locations that they're most likely to be located in. As a first-of-its-kind effort, Gas Station TV recently donated to us screen time on every single gas pump screen in America to feature a missing child whose name is Raymond Green. Raymond was abducted as an infant in 1978. Raymond's mother was at NCMEC just a few weeks ago, and her drive to find her son is just as strong now as it was 45 years ago. Raymond's mom is not going to stop looking for him. We will not stop looking for him. I want to thank all of you in this room for being a champion for children and for recognizing that your presence here sends an incredibly powerful message to the families of missing children, that they are not alone and that their children are our children. Thank you.
Thank you, Michelle. Now you're going to hear another remarkable story from our guest speaker, Paul Franzak, a former missing child who is now searching for his missing sister. Their story began on October 27, 1963, when twins named Jack and Jill Rosenthal were born in a hospital in New Jersey. Please welcome Paul Franzak.
All right, thank you, Liz. It's an honor to be speaking to you today. The fact that I'm standing here is a testament to the tireless work that these organizations do to reunite missing children with their families. You may be asking yourself, who is this guy? In short, it's complicated. According to my birth certificate and driver's license, I'm Paul Joseph Franzak. If you ask a genetic genealogist, I'm Jack Thomas Rosenthal. For a short time in between, I was Scott McKinley. So, as for me, I'm trying to still figure this out. Although my story doesn't begin there, the best place to start is April 27, 1964, with the kidnapping of baby Paul from his mother's arms in a Chicago hospital. After an exhaustive search, the trail went cold. Fast forward to July the following year, when I was abandoned on a street corner in Newark, New Jersey. I was a foundling, a child with no identity, no name, no birthday. I was put in foster care, where I became Scott McKinley, with a birth date of April 15, 1964. With no luck identifying me based on my estimated age, physical features, and blood type, it was suggested that I could be the kidnapped child from Chicago, 800 miles away. Out of thousands of boys tested, I was the only one that couldn't be ruled out. With a new sense of hope, the FBI notified the Franzaks. In June of 1966, Dora and Chester were introduced to Scott McKinley. With no definitive proof of my identity, they had no choice but to adopt me, and that's when I became Paul. We're limited on time, and my story is just getting started, so let's jump to Christmas when I was 10 doing what kids do. That was super for Christmas presents. And I found a bunch of big boxes in the crawl space. Thinking I could hit the big score, I dug through only to find old newspaper clippings. They told the story of devastated parents searching for their kidnapped son. They were my parents, and they were looking for me. I asked my mom what I found, and she said it was simple. I was taken, I was found, and returned to them. That's the end of the story. I was Paul. Jump ahead to 2012, when I asked my parents to take an over-the-counter DNA test to see once and for all if I really was their biological child. I had wondered at times over the years because there were some pretty clear differences in our looks, personality, and most predominantly my love of music and creative expression that was passed down to my daughter as well. I had to know, so I sent the samples in and waited. This would mark the beginning of 11 years and counting, waiting on DNA results. We know how that feels. As I'm sure you can guess, the results proved that I was not biologically related to my parents. I was not their kidnapped child. I was not Paul Franzak. So who was I? But more importantly, what happened to their kidnapped son? Where was the real Paul? I knew in my gut that if I went public with my story and followed every lead, I would be able to find him, the man whose identity I took on so many years ago. Despite my parents' objections, I contacted investigative reporter George Knapp to go public in 2013. Thanks to that national attention he brought to my story, I had the honor of interviewing with Barbara Walters for a 2020 special that aired that fall. I was contacted by C.C. Moore, a genetic genealogist offering to help me find out who I was and where I came from. In 2015, her and her team discovered my true identity. I was Jack Thomas Rosenthal. They were able to use my DNA matches to identify my birth parents. After 50 years, the case of the unidentified boy found in Newark had finally been solved. But every answer only raises more questions. I was born October 1963, 6 months before baby Paul went missing. I was small for my age because I was born a twin. A kidnapping, an abandonment, and now a third missing child, my twin sister Jill. After the 2020 special aired, tips poured in about the real Paul. Every lead was followed and several men were DNA tested. In 2019, the real Paul was identified. Many facts are still unknown, but what's most important is that my mom was able to speak with her biological son and her granddaughters before his passing in 2020. After 55 years, the mystery of the kidnapped baby had been solved. My twin sister Jill Lynn Rosenthal remains missing to this day. She was last seen in Atlantic City sometime before July 2nd, 1965. The National Center for Missing and Exploited Children released a campaign to help find Jill, which has yielded many tips and leads that are being followed. Unfortunately, my story is just one of many, too many. We're here to honor these individuals and organizations who work together to reunite missing children with their families. A special thank you to New Jersey State Trooper Jason Maloney and Ray Hart from NCMEC for working together to open my sister's case 56 years after her disappearance. And my case manager, Nicole Holmes, for everything she has done and continues to do to help find my missing twin. If we all work together like we are, there's nothing that we can't do. Leave no stone unturned, and let's find all these missing children and bring them home.
Thank you, Paul, for those remarks. We all have a lot to learn from your experiences and your courage and your strength. Thank you. Before we close, I'd like to thank the National Center for Missing and Exploited Children and to Fox Valley Technical College for their support of our event today. And we will close today's ceremony with remarks from Amy Solomon, the Assistant Attorney General for the Office of Justice Programs. Amy?
Good afternoon, everyone. This has been a truly powerful ceremony, and I'm honored to have the privilege to bring this event to a close. It's been wonderful to join you, the Attorney General, the Associate Attorney General, our incredible speakers, both of you, just amazing, and OJJDP for this 40th Annual National Missing Children's Day commemoration. Today, we recommit ourselves to reuniting missing children with their families and to honoring those who are dedicated to this vital cause. We also take this moment to again recognize the extraordinary individuals and teams for their outstanding work to protect children and to raise awareness for this important issue. To our award recipients, we're grateful to you for your outstanding work, and we're really so thankful to America's law enforcement officers and missing children's advocates for all they do to protect our children. Our work with the nation's Internet Crimes Against Children task forces, the ICAC task forces, our support of the Amber Alert through the Training and Technical Assistance Center, and our long-standing partner with NCMEC. All are expressions of our deep trust in the people who work so hard to secure a safe and bright future for America's children. Under the leadership of the Attorney General and the Office of Juvenile Justice and Delinquency Prevention's Administrator, the marvelous Liz Ryan, the Department of Justice is redoubling its commitment to young people, investing in efforts to help children who have been exposed to trauma and violence, and offering a lifeline to those who have been cast out by conditions beyond their control. Finally, brave and dedicated professionals like all of you are working so hard every day to make our communities and our world safe for our children. We're grateful for all that you do, and we are so proud to be your partners. Thank you for joining us in today's commemoration, and once again, a big congratulations to our award recipients. Thank you.
And that concludes our ceremony. Thank you all so much for being here.